Hello and welcome to another edition of the Digital Foyer. My name is Father Simon Lobo. I'm the pastor, and joining me today is Anna Stuart. So welcome to you, Anna.
Thanks, I'm glad to be here.
This is your first time, I think.
This is my first time.
So
my debut.
Your debut. I'm sure the first of many. Tell us a little bit about your connection to the parish here.
Great. Well, I've been part of Saint Benedict from before Saint Benedict. So I and my family attended Saint Pius X. Okay. And at the time, the Archbishop invited each parish to identify two people who would come together and crunch the numbers to make a recommendation about what to do with these three churches in a growing area of Halifax. So we crunched the numbers, put it forward, and the decision was made to sell and then build Saint Benedict. Then I was on the committee, I co-chaired the committee to raise the money to build Saint Benedict Parish. Okay. So I've been here since the doors opened.
Since the doors opened, which we just recently celebrated 15 years, 15 years, May 16th, 2010. And so you were here long before that, and you're currently serving in different ministries, I think.
I am, yeah.
What are some of the things you do?
Yeah, so I serve in a few ministries. I serve in hospitality ministry. I'm a Eucharistic minister. I'm also one of the people that calls newcomers to Saint Benedict to welcome them to the parish. And my husband and I have been responsible for the meals program for our residents in the shelters as well.
So many things, and I'm sure there have been even more over the years. Also, Anna's probably being very humble. She's one of my key mentors and advisors. She's just so full of wisdom and insight, and I've leaned on Anna for years now. And one of the areas where I've asked for her support and leadership is with the PPC, or the Parish Pastoral Council. I think it's been easily 5 years since she's been chairing that. And over the last couple years or so, we've adapted from a PPC, see if you can follow all the letters, to a CTTP, a counsel to the pastor. So a parish council to a counsel, S-E-L, to the pastor. And Anna, tell us why the change. This was partly your recommendation. Yeah.
So, well, first let me back up a little bit and just make sure everyone understands what a pastoral council is. So in canon law, parishes need to have a finance council, but they don't have to have a pastoral council. It's suggested, but they don't have to have a pastoral council. And if a parish chooses to have a pastoral council, that is, if the pastor chooses to have a pastoral council.
This pastor has chosen, more or less.
When you choose to have a pastoral council, the role of that pastoral council is to provide advice to the pastor. Now, sometimes it gets confused with being a board. And it has some of the same qualities of a board, so providing insight and foresight and maybe some oversight. But it doesn't have the same fiduciary responsibility that a board has. The council exists to give advice to the pastor, and the pastor can choose to take that advice or not. So in small parishes with no paid staff, the pastoral council can provide incredible insight around the operations, around decisions that the pastor might have to make. And so if that's the case, they'll typically have a cadence of meeting regularly. Might be monthly, might be every other month, but they develop that pattern so that the pastor has continual advice in order to help them to lead the parish. In parishes that are starting the renewal journey, the pastoral council can be really helpful to discern a new vision. And certainly I know in the early stages of Saint Benedict Parish, the Pastoral Council played a tremendous role in terms of discerning that vision. And we also did a renewal of that vision through the Pastoral Council here not that long ago.
Exactly, yeah. The whole vision of an explosively alive faith community, this was part of the work that we did as a Pastoral Council a few years ago,
Yeah. Now, we are so blessed here that we have a lot of full-time staff, not as many as we'd want, but we have a lot of full-time staff relative to other parishes, and a lot of wisdom in that group. So you as a pastor don't need as much advice on the day-to-day operations of the parish or any of the kind of tactical decisions that come forward. Your leadership team is able to navigate that.
I was just going to say, because the idea of having a senior leadership team, a parish leadership team, that's really only in the last 10 years, if that, really under Father James, and now continuing with that. And so in that sense, it's morphed the role of a pastoral counsel in the
Right.
classic sense.
Yeah, so what we did is we stood back and said, so if the pastor still wants advice and this pastor still wants advice, what's the best way for a pastoral counsel to provide that? And what we're playing with is this idea of not being a pastoral counsel with regular every other month or every month meetings, but instead a counsel to the pastor, a group that comes together at the pastor's invitation to give insight and foresight, advice around particular issues that are more strategic in nature that the leadership team is wrestling with. So some of the kinds of issues that have come forward at the invitation of the pastor have been around how we journey with people that come from alpha into a next step. So how do we take people from that first yes to walking with Jesus, to walking into the shallow end towards the deep end? So we're doing some work around that here at the parish, and some of that came from insight from the counsel to the pastor.
Absolutely, because one of the things that breaks my heart is when people come in, they have a great experience, and then they're like fish that swim into the harbor, and then they swim away out the back door, if you will, without taking a next step. And so exploring how can we do better, and I've been so blessed to have Anna and this group of about 20 in this more ad hoc kind of gathering, but highly invested people. And just to kind of say, I think what we're doing here, Anna, is very similar to what the whole universal church has been doing actually for centuries and centuries, but Pope Francis has shone a particular light on this, the idea of a synod. And now I think with Pope Leo, we're going to continue in this vein, this notion of journeying together, consulting people, because it's not just the person at the top in the position of leadership who knows everything. There's so much wisdom that we can gain from each other as we head in this direction to do a better job of fulfilling Jesus' mission.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say thank you so much, Anna,
My
for
pleasure.
all of your service and support. And I look forward to our next ad hoc meeting where we continue to dive into big things.
You and me both.
Okay. Well, God bless. It's been another Digital Foyer.